So eating late at night makes you gain weight. Well, not necessarily, but there is something that you need to know. So a lot of people assume that you're automatically going to gain body fat if you eat after 7 p.m., 8, 9, whereas that's actually not the case. Fat loss isn't about when you eat, it's about how much you're eating. So first of all, you need to understand that fat loss comes from being in a calorie deficit. Now, the way a calorie deficit would happen is if you eat and drink less calories than of which your body burns on a daily basis. And by burn, I don't mean just in workouts necessarily. Yes, it's a contributing factor, but it's probably much less than you think. What else comes into the equation is like calories you burn when you're eating, when you're sleeping, when you're digesting food, when you're hanging with mates, going up and down stairs. Everything contributes. So whether you eat after 6 p.m., 10 p.m., it doesn't change this. So now, complete myths aside, there is some value as to why it's not a good idea to eat late at night. And it doesn't automatically result in fat gain, but I'm going to highlight these nuances to you, and I think it's going to make sense by the end of it. First of all, when people are eating, generally speaking, at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight, it's often quite calorie dense foods when you think about it. It's not like fruit that's high in fiber, or vegetables and salads that are high in like vitamins and minerals, or lean protein sources. It's usually foods that are very calorie dense, like ice cream or entire pizzas, boxes of fries, fried chicken, whatever it might be. Again, it's the very calorie dense foods that tend to be the go-to when it's late at night. And obviously, if you're eating very calorie dense foods while maybe you're watching a movie or you're hanging out with your mates, then that's not going to help. I also find that sometimes when people are on a fat loss journey, they often go through like the entire day trying to starve themselves, which isn't a good idea. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know I often advocate for slight calorie deficits. Yes, aggressive calorie deficits do have a time and place, but starving yourself throughout the day, it won't make sense. It's going to work against you. And often what happens is that when people starve themselves throughout the entire day, they get super hungry. And then by the time like 8 p.m. comes around, 9 p.m. comes around, they can't take it anymore. They're like, I'm just way too hungry. I'm going to just overeat, and then floodgates open. So that's what's happening. You go through the cycle of starving yourself throughout the day, floodgates opening at night, into which you're eating almost everything and anything. And then the next day comes, you feel guilty for it. So you try and make up for it by starving yourself throughout the day, and then the cycle repeats itself. So you have to be not starving yourself throughout the day, because then it will help you actually ironically eat less at night. And then another factor worth highlighting is that oftentimes when people have like a big meal shortly before going to sleep, they then lie down, the food doesn't really have a chance to digest properly. So when they wake up in the morning and they weigh themselves, they see they weigh much more. But it's not because of the fact that you've gained extra body fat, it's because you've got food content inside of you still, a lot of it from the prior night, which hasn't had a chance to digest properly. And all this extra food content, it needs to weigh something still. So it's not the fact that you've gained a body fat, it's the fact that you just weigh more because you've got more stuff inside of you right now. And not to mention as well that when you have heavy meals shortly before you go to bed, that's negatively going to impact your sleep. And when your sleep is, we could say, consistently negatively impacted, that's not a good thing, because when you're more sleep deprived, it's also going to result in you eating and drinking more calories. And this is something that's well found in the research. So now that we've covered potential scenarios, what I want to cover with you as well is how to eat late without like ruining your progress. And number one, I would say have like good, nutritious, healthy snacks in the house. So if you do crave something at night, you can eat it without ruining your progress, whether it's a high fiber source, a high protein source. You also want to stick to your daily calorie target as well. So like I said, if let's say you're tracking your calories and your goal is 2,200 calories daily, you get to late at night, you see you've got 500 calories left, you can have those 500 calories. It's going to be okay. Like, it's not going to make a difference. So you could be aware of that too. And you also don't want to snack mindlessly, because mindless snacking isn't going to help. If you're hungry at night, then have a proper meal. So to summarize this video, it's not the fact that eating late at night automatically results in fat gain. You can very well eat late at night and still lose body fat. But what's going on is that a lot of the behaviors that people embark on when they're eating late at night is usually contradictory to fat loss goals. And then if you do want to eat late at night, preferably go for lean protein sources high in fiber as well. Stick to your calorie goal. And overall, the most important thing is that over the long term, you are consistent with your nutrition and with your exercise. Otherwise, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support small businesses, then do buy my book from Amazon. It's called Your Fat Loss Journey Starts Here, and you can buy it through the link in the caption of this video, and it's available on Kindle, paperback, and hardback.